Mr. Boissonneau, I'll give you an opportunity to come clean with Canadians. Who's the other Randy?
Mr. Chair, could you have the member please clarify his question?
Well, it's a pretty straightforward question. In your previous appearance at other committees in this scandal, you said that it was an other Randy. Who is the other Randy at your former company, Global Health Imports?
Mr. Barrett, I am not involved in any of the conversations. If you are referring to reports in the media, I am not involved in those conversations. And the Ethics Commissioner has indicated very clearly that I'm not involved in any of those conversations, any of those texts between Mr. Anderson and the person you just raised. And in fact, if you take a look at recent court cases, both the Gowie Group has indicated that they've never met me. I've never met them. And 4M Medical has indicated that they have never met me. I have never met them.
So the problem that we have is that you had previously said that you didn't have any contact with your business partner, Mr. Anderson, while you were serving in Justin Trudeau's cabinet. But then when you got caught, you admitted that you had, of course, sent text messages and that there was a phone call between you and your business partner exactly when he was corresponding with potential clients and fraud victims about Randy and Randy being in Vancouver, and that's where you were. The problem that we have is that in committee appearances, you've lied about owning 50% of the business. You lied about being in communication.
Mr. Chair.
You lied about there being another Randy.
That is not a fair characterization, Mr.
You
Chair.
lied
Mr.
about
Chair,
being Indigenous, and you lied about
Chair.
being a journalist. How can we believe anything that you say today?
Mr. Barrett, just 1 second, please. We have a point of order. Mr. Fresh, I don't know who raised it. It was...
Go ahead, Peter. Okay.
All together.
Yeah.
Mr. Carr?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, can you provide us with your reflections, please, on whether or not you believe it's within order to refer to a member in committee as a liar? Perhaps you can consult the clerk if you're unsure.
He's not a member of the committee.
Point of order, Mr. Chair, too?
Hang on, hang on.
On that same point of order?
Mr. Duran?
Just, we also have the Conservative House Leader who refers himself as an American insurance broker, and we know that's a lie. Are we going to invite him to the committee? Just wondering, same standards.
That's not a point of order. That's a point of debate.
Okay, well, maybe we can change the language a bit and not refer to people as liars, and I'll give you your time back, Mr. Barrett.
Well, he is a liar.
How can we believe anything that you say when all of the things that I've listed that you said aren't true? When you said you were Indigenous, you said you were a journalist, you said you weren't in contact with your business partner, you said that the company wasn't getting any federal contracts. All of those things aren't true. You said one thing, and the exact opposite is true. Now, your Liberal colleagues want to put flowery language around that. If you say something that's not true, we all know what that is. Why should we believe you? How can we believe you today?
Well, Mr. Chair, through you, I would like to inform Mr. Barrett that he's simply mistaken and putting false claims on. We've litigated this at Ethics now twice, and the Ethics Commissioner himself has indicated that on the 6th, 7th, and 8th of September, I was not involved in the text messages that the National Post and that the Conservatives keep trying to raise. I'm simply not the person involved in those conversations. There was a text exchange between me and Mr. Anderson regarding a Purelator account that needed to be settled, and I was very clear about that at Ethics. There was no communication between us in the following days. Mr.
Seems
Barrett,
to change. Your story always seems to change once you no sir, it's my time.
And
your story always seems
that
to
I was there on the 8th as well.
Okay, one person at a time, please. It's very difficult for the interpreters to figure out what's going on here. One person at a time, please. I believe Michael Barrett had a question, and then we'll have an answer. Mr. Barrett. Point of order from Mr. Frederick.
This has been happening regularly in this particular exchange, and I think that it's good at the outset just to clear it up. Let's give the witness enough time to offer a response back.
Holy point of orders.
Point of order?
What we've experienced in this committee is the person asking the question is due their time, and is in this case, Mr. Barrett is due his time to ask the person the questions he wants to ask. So just challenge the chair to keep that priority. Thank you.
Yeah, what my goal here is that the length of the question matches the length of the answer. Sorry, the length of the answer matches the length of the question. We'll try to keep that as close as possible, and that way it doesn't mess up the interpreters too much and everyone has their time. So, Mr. Barrett, you have the floor.
Equal time. You said you were a journalist. Are you?
Mr. Barrett, I was a regular reporter for the Francophone news outlet, CBC Radio Canada.
Yep,
I was a member of the Canadian Media.
And that was equal time,
for
and
several
that's
weeks.
not what CBC has said. You said you were Indigenous to get federal contracts disenfranchising Indigenous peoples. Are you?
Mr. Chair, that is simply false. That's not true. I've never claimed Indigenous status, and I've never applied for an Indigenous contract. Full stop.
Well, we know that that's also not true because the company that you own 50% of, Mr. Boissonnault, did exactly that. Your company, GHI, is under investigation for fraud and being investigated by the police. Is that correct?
I have not been contacted by any police service to that effect. And Mr. Barrett, I was not involved in any federal contracts while I was operating.
And so as much as you want to distance yourself from it, this is very much yours to own because you in fact own 50% of it. So you were willing to cash the checks, but you're not willing to take any of the responsibility for where the money came from and how it came to be in possession of the company. Suspicious warehouse fires, fraud investigations.
Order,
Mr. Carr?
Yeah, I'm wondering, for the benefit of myself and other committee members, I would very much appreciate if the clerk could provide the timing of the length of questioning that you are allocating. It's 6 minutes per member. Every time that you stop the clock to deal with a point of order or to address something Mr. Barrett or Mr. Zimmer or others have said, I'd like it to be tracked for the committee that you're not providing more time to Mr. Barrett. So for our benefit, please, if you could have the clerk.
Are you questioning the judgment of the chair?
I am asking for the chair through his clerk.
Are you questioning the integrity of the chair?
I am asking the chair through the
I have
clerk.
the timer right here, Mr. Chair, and I am keeping as close eye as I
So,
possibly can.
Mr. Clerk, I'm going to ask through you then, please,
Well,
sir.
no, that's not how this works, Mr.
Oh,
Carr,
okay.
you
Well,
know.
then, Mr. Chair, I'm asking.
We
and I
trust
don't
your
believe,
chairs at committee when it comes
Mr. Chair?
to that time.
Mr. Chair, I'm
That
asking
is
on a
way
point
out
of
of line.
order.
I've answered your point of order.
Point of
way
order,
out
Chair.
of
This
line.
is clearly
Mr.
disruptive,
Yes.
intended to be disruptive.
Sorry, I
Let's get
wasn't
back
done
to
my-
work.
I
Let's
wasn't
get
done
back
my
to the work of this
I've
committee.
already ruled on that. Thank
Point
you.
of order.
If you wish to challenge the
There's
chair,
too many
go ahead.
people
but
speaking. We
Ms.
need
Sidney-
to be respectful of the interpreters.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've ruled on that. If you wish to challenge the chair, there is a
I
process
will
for
challenge
that.
the chair.
Okay.
Challenge the
Well,
chair
we'll
on
vote.
what?
for Randy.
That he's not keeping track of the time? He is
So the
keeping track
challenge-
of the time.
Would you prefer a
Well, you
wording?
said you made a decision, Mr. Chair. If
I
you haven't made
word-
a decision, I have no
that-
challenge to make.
That the
If you
chair,
have made a
as-
decision,
The chair, as always, Mr. Carr, I know we got some time here. The chair in any committee has been responsible with the timing, whether
Correct.
it's Mr. Weiler or myself.
correct.
All right? We've never had a problem with that. I don't
Correct.
anticipate there's being a problem now. But now you're calling into question my
I
integrity.
actually have not, Mr.
And
Chair.
so-
I've simply asked that
And I've
the
made a
committee.
ruling that I will keep track of the time. I have two people on either side of me
Okay.
that will watch. I have done nothing to impugn my integrity. The fact that
I
you're
haven't
still
suggested
questioning
that you have, Mr.
is,
Schmidt. I've simply
rather
asked for the
frustrating.
time to be made
So having
public.
said that, enough. We don't want to waste any more time. So if you wish to challenge the chair, we'll challenge and we'll have a quick vote. If not, we will move on
A
with
vote on
Mr. Barrett,
what?
who
To
has
see
the
if he
floor.
gets less
So
or
just,
more
so just
time?
so I can confirm here,
What's-
you are not agreeing to allow for the committee to be aware of how much time is being allocated
I
to
have
other
the
members?
timer right here. It's in
Okay.
full view of two other people.
Okay, so at any point, you're comfortable if we check in on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Barrett, you have 45 seconds. Floor is yours.
So, Mr. Boissonnault, while you were claiming to be Indigenous,
time.
the Liberal Party was also echoing that claim on their websites and posting that you were Indigenous. And the The ethical problems that presents, of course, are self-evident. But I'd like to know from you, if you're aware, how much money the Liberal Party of Canada fundraised off of your false claim and their false claim that you were Indigenous when that was simply false.
So, Mr. Barrett, I sat at Indigenous Caucus as an ally between 2015 and 2019. And during the 2019 election, the party mistakenly included me on a list of Indigenous candidates. When I realized that I was on that list, I called the party, we contacted the party, and we had that mistake corrected. And I have never received, as a candidate in 2015, 2019, or 2021, any funding from the fund to support Indigenous candidates. And that is appropriate as it should be, because I do not claim Indigenous status.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Boissonnault.